Yo, JD here, Limitless, and as you can see, we are back on F1 2021 here today, and in this video, we are here for round 5 of the British Racing Series, and you'll be able to see from the previous results, we have started to gain a little bit of momentum back in this championship, so currently only around about 7 points or 7 or 8 points behind LA Morris, who is the championship leader at this stage after we managed to take the win out last time at Brazil. This time we arrive at Australia, Melbourne, a track that I really enjoy, but we don't really race on it that often. So coming into this, I was secretly quite optimistic. I was very happy with my pace. As you can see, my screen's lagging quite a bit. PC was having a few issues at the start of the stream, but it does smooth out as we just do our first lap in the Q1 here. But yeah, Rusty is the man to beat in terms of the qualifying. He actually has the world record around here, and you can see he's done a 20.4 in Q1. So arguably the fastest man over a lap on Xbox right now. Just absolutely rapid. But we decided to go for a lap in Q2 on the mediums, and as I said, I was quietly feeling quite confident coming into this race. Didn't have that much time to prepare, but the pace was just there straight away, and come across the line, it's a 21.9 on the mediums, which is fairly respectable. My PB was a 21.7, but still 21.9 at the start of Q2 is not bad. You can see we're gone out again on the softs, but we're the last man across the line, so only 3 seconds to go. No one else can complete a lap. So I did this because coming off the last corner, it says I'm in 10th place. I'm not going to complete the lap because I know no one else can finish the lap now. And we have gone through on the medium tyres, and you will be able to see at the end of Q2, we were the only man to get in the top 10 on mediums, which I think puts me in a very good position to be in. And you'll be able to see this race. It definitely pans out that way. So coming through into Q3, I decided to do only one run in Q3. And the reason for that is because I wanted to save a set of fresh softs for the race. And I think a lot of people don't know, or maybe get a bit confused, that they think they get an extra set of softs for the race. That's not the case. You have to make sure that you choose the right soft tyre in the garage. So the one furthest to the right, the extra one you get in Q3, that is only for qualifying. You don't get that as a fresh set for the race. So make sure you choose one of the first set of soft tyres in the garage, because you won't get that extra set for the race. So we're just going to do the one lap here, and it's really important that we do a good lap. Otherwise, we might be forced to go out again on the softs, and then for our alternate strategy, we're going to be on slightly used softs, which is actually quite a significant factor going round this track. But so far, the lap has actually been very solid, and so far we've done absolutely everything we have needed to do. Coming to this, I knew it's going to be very hard to beat ET Rusty in qualifying, because he is just so fast over a lap. So for me, if I could just start next to him on the front row of the grid and make sure I beat my championship rival LA Morris as well, who actually got knocked out in a Q2, I believe. Coming across the line, it's a 20.4, so 2 tenths behind Rusty. But I was actually very content with that, and you'll be able to see at the end of Q3 here.
No, you don't get fresh softs to a race, no. Only if you save some, no. So no, you have to save, not the last selection, but you have to save one of the first 3 softs, otherwise you don't get fresh softs for the race, no.
And that is just me explaining what I was just talking about the soft tyres. Most people don't actually realise this, and you can see 2 tenths behind, little gap to the cars behind, but we're in P2, got to start on the front row on the medium tyres, so this is a perfect starting place to be. So I was very happy with this. So only man in the top 10 on the medium tyres. The race is fully dry, and now it's about how fast we can go. on these medium tyres, and I've done a lot of 25% races around here in open lobbies. The alternate strategy is actually extremely powerful. So the softs are going to be much, much faster than the mediums at the start. But at the end of the race, the alternate strategy should really swing back into our favour. So as we start this formation lap, coming back to the grid now, just waiting for everyone else to load in. So now we've got 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and as they go out now, trying to get a good start, but with the lack of grip of these tires, get a little bit of wheel spin, we actually still get a reasonable launch. Crucial that we do lose many positions going to here, so making sure we don't let Wookie go around the outside of us. And now Rusty has pretty much already gone, so haven't lost any positions, which was the aim. And now it's all about not letting that gap get too big. If you could get the gap to under 8 seconds in the first stint, that's actually really, really good, surprisingly enough, because I've done many open lobbies against drivers who are just as fast as me. When they've been about 8 or 9 seconds in the lead, the alternate strategy is that powerful that you can actually bring back that kind of gap towards the end of the race. So we're going to be pushing as hard as we can here. Try not to lose any time battling. So I'm going to be pushing very, very hard just to try and get as close as I can. But you can see he's already out of the DRS zone. But as the laps go by, that advantage on the softs will slowly start to diminish. And you might be thinking, oh, why is the screen quality so bad? Unfortunately, that's just YouTube for you. When you stream and this game in general, when things are moving, it really makes the screen quite blurry for oddly some reason. So hopefully it is still watchable. But Rusty sets the fastest lap as he's the leader, and the gap is 1.8 seconds. As we come towards the end of lap 2, the gap has now gone up another full second, 2.8 seconds, at 24.3. We do a 25.3, so exactly a second difference at this stage. And you can see we're managing to contain the drivers behind quite well. So I was actually very, very happy with the start. But as you go on again, the gap is only extended by 4 tenths now. So we're doing a really, really good job at this stage. Now into 25.0 of managing this gap. And now the gap is now 3.7. So as long as we don't let it extend by really 5 to 8 tenths of a second, we're well on track of what we want to do in this strategy. The gap is now about 4.2, 4.3 seconds. And as we're going on, as C. Davis is out of the race, which has actually released the first safety car of this race. So it's going to be interesting what the people on the softs are going to do. But I knew at this stage that I was just going to continue, obviously, no matter what. I could go on the hard tyres, but the hard tyres are just so slow. And I actually think just waiting out for softs would probably be an even quicker strategy. So we actually take the lead of this race. Rusty pits along with some other soft runners. But the good thing is, as you look on the top left, Rusty, where's he going to come out? It's going to be top 5. The answer is no. And I can confirm he actually came out in 7th place. So we have 6 cars between us, which is exactly what we need. But as the safety car's coming in, a lot of people said that this isn't the case. But for me, I've never experienced this under the safety car before. Maybe because I've never been in a lead under the safety car for a while. But see here, it's not letting me go on the power, and it's actually braking for me. So I'm trying to go full power here, and it won't do it until the safety car is in. So just automatically slows you down, which does catch you off guard a little bit. But we actually get quite a good exit off here. And now we're about to see some raw footage, quite a few laps of this race, because this lap is very, very important. So the guys behind, they're on mediums, but they are on slightly fresher mediums since they started outside the top 10. So they're on brand new tyres, so about a lap or 2 laps younger than what I had. So I should technically be at a disadvantage at this stage in terms of the tyres, but we decided to just absolutely go for it. I wanted to put as much space as possible between myself and ETU Rusty, because I just know how fast he is. And if I could build it up to over 5 seconds, or maybe close to 10 seconds, since he doesn't have to pit again, technically, with the softs, it should make it much easier to close them down. So I'm just going to try and create as big a gap as possible. So I'm pushing very hard here. The gap is about 1 second already between myself and Alex Yeno. So you can see we're really using the ERS here, and we were just driving so well. I just remember that I was just driving very relaxed and just very confident in the pace. I haven't felt this confident for quite a while driving an F1 2021. And again, I think that really comes down to actually playing different games, just having a bit of a break from this game, coming into this with a different mindset, and it really just refreshes a lot of things when you're driving. You can see the gap is now up to 1.3, now 1.4. So come through here, ABR Ryan retires from the race, and now that I think is going to bring out another safety car again. It was actually a virtual safety car, but now it goes into a full blown safety car. So the question is, what do we do now? Do we pit for hards? And the answer is going to be no, because if I pitted for hards, I would lose all my track position, and the hards are just such a slow tyre. I think the people who are medium, such as Rusty, are probably still going to be faster towards the end of the race. So I'd literally just be throwing away a whole bunch of positions. So I was really hoping that we could do the same again, where we try and create that gap before we pit for the end of the race. So safety car is in this lap. And as I said before, the game keeps slowing you down automatically. So you're about to see something here. So right here, I'm trying to go on the power. It's not letting me go on the power at all. And it's broken my car. And you're about to see what that's happened here. 5-second penalty. Because Alex Yeno has actually hit into the back of my car. And that has given him damage as well. And just to confirm, I didn't brake check him. I didn't even brake. I was trying to go on the power. But because I'm the first car under the safety car, it doesn't let me go on the power until the safety car comes in. And it keeps me at minimum speed. So unfortunately, he's gone into the back of me because my car's so down. He's got damage, and that is his race over. So I'm very sorry to Alex, because he was driving a really good race. But that has actually helped me give a gap, and because the car behind him then had to slow down as well, which gave me about a 2-second gap. So we're going to take this opportunity again to try and put as much distance between myself and ET Rusty as possible. But also because we have this 5-second penalty, we actually have to serve that in the pits. So they're not actually going to change my tyres until the 5 seconds is up, rather than adding it on towards the end of the race, which is something I'd probably much rather them do at this stage. So the pressure is on now to actually increase that gap. And again, still, we're on the oldest set of mediums out of anyone in the field, but now we have to try and use any pace we have to get that gap up to 5 seconds. And you're about to see again, we were just driving just really well at this stage, and not nervous at all, just really committed into the corners, making sure we're hitting the same point every single lap. And you can see we're gaining quite a bit of time on this lap. I think gained about half a second on this lap alone. Current cost line is a 25.3. Let's see what it's going to be. The gap is now up to 4 seconds, so only a second away. But we move on to the next lap. The gap is now gone up another 5 to 6 tenths. So we are really pushing hard now. And you can see really using the battery, because we need to make this gap as high as possible. Because if I don't get this gap to 5 seconds, I'm going to be jumped by a whole queue of cars behind, as I'll probably be held in my pit box. So again, the gap is 4.9 seconds. Trying to get up to 5 seconds, which it is, but still, we need a bit more than this. Otherwise, we are going to get jumped and slowed down by all these cars. So still pushing another 25.4. And yeah, I could really do more than this at this stage. The pace is just so good at this stage. Even on these older tyres, 5.6 now. And GPR Dizzy is a very fast driver himself. Races them quite often in open lobbies, and the gap is now 5.7 seconds. So we're doing everything we need to do. HSR Porky retires from the race. And what does this do? This is brought out, I think, another safety car. Is this the virtual, or is this the full-blown safety car. So that has worked in our favor very, very nicely. And you can see, and the last part of the safety car, you don't actually have to stick to the Delta if you're going into the pits. So coming through into here, we're going to try and get that gap over 6 seconds, which is just about. Is it going to be enough to stay ahead of these cars? So we really desperately needed to make that gap. Otherwise, we could be losing a lot of positions here. So having to wait the full 5 seconds before we make the change. And now here we go. Do we get out ahead of these cars or soft tires? And yes, we do. Not that much, though. That was surprisingly close. So if we didn't push with that speed, then we would have been in big, big trouble. But the great thing as well is that we have fresh softs as well. We have saved these fresh softs. And with 8 laps to go or 9 laps to go, we're now in a really good position. But we still have some cars to overtake. We have 3 cars to overtake. E.T. Rusty being one of them. But he has been on those mediums now for some quite considerable time. So now we're restarting the race here. Let's see what we can do with about 7 laps to go. But Ganja Wiz decides to pull over and let us go, which I'm not sure why, to be honest. And then in the result of that, he's actually put DPR Dizzy off the track. So he defended against here, which I have no affiliation with Gang Wiz at all. Don't know who he is, but yeah, to be honest, I'm not a particular fan of that. Although it's nice for me, I think people should be racing for their position. So I think that was quite unfair on GPR Dizzy. If you go do that, then do that for everyone. Not for one particular person, which I don't know why he's decided to do that. But it has made my life a bit easier. But now we've got E.T. Rusty up ahead, the fastest driver on Xbox right now. And despite him being on older tyres and us being on fresh softs, I still knew that this wasn't going to be a walk in the park as well. But my main concern is that I want to overtake him before the DRS. Because if he gets the DRS, that will actually help defend his position quite nicely. So didn't want to wait those 3 laps. And plus the advantage I have of these softs will slowly start to diminish as well. So we really want to try and get this position as soon as we can. So using the ERS coming off, it's got really getting into slipstream. Let's see what we can do here. Was just trying to put him off the line slightly, but he manages to do it quite well. Trying to get a good exit at this corner, using the ERS again, so making sure we're putting him underneath maximum pressure here. And he doesn't really go defensive, so he poke nose down the inside. A bit of a half-hearted move. Yeah, a bit half-hearted there. Was a little bit clumsy, but we're just trying to put him off his stride ever so slightly here. And now coming through into this corner, no room to overtake him, but trying to get a good exit off this one, using the ERS again. Does he go defensive this time? Yes, he does. So we're going to go round the outside, try and squeeze with the outside, go round the outside. Can we get the inside for the next one? Banging wheels ever so slightly. Luckily, we did get a track invalidation, and then he lives to fight another day. Just checking if we have damage, but I think the answer is no. Now coming through into here, he isn't within the DRS zone of Snipe, so this is probably my last opportunity. Having to use it here, do a little dummy to the left and then back to the right hand side. Now we have to brake super late. She's still trying to go around the outside, so still hanging on these medium tyres, but are we going to get move done? Yes, we are! Finally get that move done, and that was a lot harder than anticipated. No. Well, I guessed it would have still been difficult. Rusty is a very, very hard racer. Extremely fast. Even on those old mediums. Putting up a great, great fight. But now we are behind Snipes SB, who's another championship rival as well. Anyway, Morris at this stage, I believe is not actually in the points. So he's on the controller, I can confirm. And this track is a very, very difficult track for the controller, which I've had past experience with. Definitely is not a lot of fun, but right now we've got to try and focus on winning this race. Snipes does have a 3-second time penalty, but I always want to try and win on track just in case people can get those penalties removed. So we're going to take our time here. Nothing too rash. He doesn't have the DRS from any cars up ahead of him. So if we can get a good exit, then we should be able to make quite a clean, easy move. So coming through into chicane, this time we're going to have DRS on the exit, getting a really, really nice exit. Not even using the battery power here, and he doesn't actually defend, so not fighting as hard at all. But now we go into the lead of the race, and everything has pretty much worked out perfectly in this race. We haven't made any mistakes with the strategy. In terms of the driving, we've managed the tyres and the battery so well, and plus the raw speed has been there. Haven't had to just rely on the consistency. The actual pace has been there, which is sometimes something that I do lack, as A Mercy sets the fastest lap of the race. We're going to go for a fastest lap now, just to see if we can get the full 26 points. So we're going to stay on board here, and the goal is to try and get out the DRS zone as quick as possible. And you can already see through this first sector, we're going to be almost 8 tenths up already. Coming through to the purple first sector, so 4 tenths faster than anything we have done so far. Really pushing with the battery pack now. The gap is now up to 9 tenths of a second. Coming through into here, really navigating this very nicely, using all the track very wisely. And now the gap is up to 1 second. So we're out of that danger zone, but so we're still going to be pushing. Purple middle sector as well, and we actually get a corner cut there, so that's our first warning of the race. But at this rate, I don't think it really matters too much if we do get that penalty or not. The gap is now up to 1.3 seconds. Really navigating this very nicely, going into the penultimate corner, just kissing that apex, trying to go middle of the track. Nice late apex here, gone in the power, nice and early. Use the rest of the ERS, and what lap time is this going to be? It's going to be a 22.8, and the gap is now up to 1.6 seconds. But as you skip on the next laps, that gap has now gone up to 2.7 seconds, 23.7, whilst we decided to save a bit of the ERS, and now the gap is up to 3.3 seconds. So even if we get a penalty at this stage, we're completely clear of the rest of the field. So this is the penultimate lap. Now coming into the last lap, the gap is up to 3.8 seconds. So we're going to ride on board on this last lap here. 23.9, and the gap is 3.7. So we saved a bit of our ERS. We're going to push a little bit more on this last lap. Plenty of fuel to use as well. And unless there's a meteor strike or something like that, or disconnection, it looks like we're going to take not quite the full points, because someone did pit and nabbed that fastest lap quite annoyingly at the end of the race. But no, the way we've driven here is very good. I was very happy with this performance, and probably the most relaxed I've driven in a while. And I think that's what's kind of made me perform at this different level right here. I haven't driven this well in a long time, and I think at the start of this season was quite inconsistent with my driving. But with that win out at Brazil last time out, and I was actually not really getting along with this car, which I think was probably more mental than anything. We've really started to get to grips with it now, and yeah, I don't think I really could have driven much better than this. The gap, is it going to go up to 5 seconds? Rusty is in second place now. The gap is now over 5 seconds here. So even if we had that 5 second penalty, wouldn't really have mattered that much at this stage. And coming across the line, you can see we are very happy with that. So that's 2 wins in a row now. Yeah, consistency is definitely coming together. And yeah, just want to say thank you so much for the people watching the stream. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Will we be back live with Canada this weekend at 7:30 UK time on my YouTube live. ORL will also be on Sunday at 3 PM UK time. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed that. This is actually the championship standings as well. So yeah, hopefully you can keep this up. Hope you have a great day, and I will catch you very soon. Peace.